What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports and you're watching our college football channel. Time for my week 12 predictions, and the season has flown by. Yes, this is the final weekend before rivalry weekend. So yeah, the season definitely going by fast. Let's jump into it here. 10 of the biggest games. We'll start with Michigan, Maryland, noon Eastern time on Fox. Michigan favored by 19.5. Of course, all the distractions with Jim Harbaugh being suspended and all that. It seemed like it fired up this Michigan team last week. But you've got Ohio State next week, and you're coming off of that big win over Penn State. So I could see Michigan maybe coming out a little bit slow here, but they're just much better than Maryland. So I think they'll take care of business. I've got them winning this one 34-10. Their defense keeps this game from really being all that close. Next, we've got Louisville versus Miami, noon Eastern time on ABC. Louisville favored by 1. I'm pretty sure I saw that line favoring Miami at one point, and it may have changed since I made this graphic. I don't know. But this is a huge game. Louisville trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. I haven't really looked at all the ACC scenarios. I feel like they're probably going to get in the ACC championship even if they lose this game. But if they win, they're definitely in. And then they'll be playing Florida State, of course, in that ACC championship. So huge game for them. Miami, boy, this just has not lived up to their potential, in my opinion. It's still a talented team. They challenged Florida State last week. They're playing at home. I think they got a real shot in this game, but they seem to just find ways to lose games like this. And so I'm going with Louisville. I think they go on the road. I think they're focused. They're ready. They've got a lot more to play for, and they get this win. 24-17, the final score. Next, we've got Utah and Arizona. So one of the good things about the end of the Pac-12, which I hate that we're losing the Pac-12, but the one good thing is that we don't have to worry about the Pac-12 network. And maybe some of you do get that, but I don't get the Pac-12 network, and so I always miss these games. And we're talking about a top 25 game. There are only a few of these this week, and it's on the Pac-12 network. So no more of that. That's the good news. But yeah, this game will be at 2:30 Eastern time on the Pac-12 network. Arizona favored by 1. Arizona, one of the hottest teams in the country. Utah still a good, sound team, and I think this will be a great game, very close game. I think Arizona, though, playing at home, that's the difference. They get the win. I'm going to go 26-20, the final score, Wildcats. Next, we go to North Carolina at Clemson, 3:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Clemson favored by 7. This is a tricky game here because Clemson, I think they're honestly the better team. North Carolina has been very lucky in some games. They've lost to some bad teams. Clemson's losses have all been respectable. They've lost very close games. They've lost mostly to pretty good teams, at least. And so playing at home, you feel like Clemson is ready for this game. But North Carolina has a lot to play for. Maybe a chance to get to the ACC championship. I just think Clemson's going to be too much at home. Tough to beat them at home. I think they get this win. 31-28. I do think it's close. I think it may come down to the end, but I think Clemson gets the win here. Next, we've got Illinois at Iowa, 3:30 Eastern time on FS1. Iowa favored by 3 at home. That's a very low number, probably just because it's not expected to be a very high-scoring game. So chances are the game winds up being pretty close. Illinois has had a lot of injuries this year. They have not been a great team. Iowa, I know the offense hasn't been good, but their defense has, and that's going to be the difference here. Maybe a special teams or a defensive touchdown. I think they win this one fairly easily. I'm going to go 20-6. Not many points as expected, but I'm going to go Hawkeyes. Next, we've got Georgia, Tennessee, 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Georgia only favored by 10.5. Again, a very low number. It seems like Tennessee just got blown out by Missouri. Georgia just blew out Ole Miss. Georgia has Georgia Tech next week, so there's really no look ahead. I think they'll be pretty focused for this game. Tennessee playing at home, that'll give them some energy here. But their season really is kind of over. There's not much to play for. And I think Georgia will wind up taking advantage and pulling away. So I'm going 38-20 here. Georgia, the better team. They wind up winning and again pulling away. A game that's maybe close for a while, but then Georgia pretty big. Next, we got Kansas State, Kansas, 7 o'clock Eastern time on FS1. Kansas State favored by 8.5. I talked about that the other day. That's just a very, very high number. I'm very surprised by that. I think Kansas, this is kind of like their Super Bowl. They finally want to knock off Kansas State. I believe Jason Bean will be playing in this game. They didn't have him last week and got knocked out against Texas Tech. And obviously they lost that game. I think with him in there, this is a motivated team. Underdogs at home, they pull off the upset. I'm going Kansas, 27, Kansas State, 24. Kansas State is still a team that I don't think they've beaten. I know they haven't beaten any top 25 teams. I don't think they've even beaten a team with a winning record. and yet they're still ranked 21st. They played some good teams tough. You don't really have any bad losses, but still, I think Kansas, I just think they're really motivated in this one. They get the win. And then we go Florida, Missouri, 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Missouri favored by 11.5. Maybe a little bit of a hangover after the big win over Tennessee. Florida desperate, trying to get to a bowl game. Because of that, I think this game's close for a little while, but Missouri's just a better team, and I think they get this one done. 34-20 the final, Missouri over Florida. And next we got Washington, Oregon State, 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC. Oregon State favored by 2.5. Maybe that's changed since I did this graphic, but yeah, when I made this graphic, Oregon State was favored by 2.5. Tough place to play. Washington's had some close calls. I think finally they slip up. I'm going with Oregon State to pull off the upset, get a huge win, knock off Washington, 37-34. I think we'll see some points in this one. Kind of similar to the Washington-Utah game, but this one goes the other way for Washington, and Oregon State at home gets the win. And finally, Texas, Iowa State, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox. Texas favored by 7.5. Iowa State trying to pull off the big upset here at home. There's just a huge talent gap, and this is just one I don't see Texas losing. Even on the road, maybe they start off slow, but I've got the Longhorns. Quinn Ewers back. Give me Texas here. 31-17. They win by a couple of touchdowns, and they lock into the Big 12 championship, which I guess I'm assuming. I really need to look at these standings. I'm assuming a win here would clinch their spot in the Big 12 championship when you look at everything else. But that's my prediction here my predictions for Week 12. Give me your predictions down in the comments below.